and gentlemen at home, you will see the tail of the tape for our next bout. Both fighters making their debut. Johnny Quinn taking on Dan Kane. Light heavyweight bout. Dan Kane, of course, formerly fought at heavyweight in novice action, making his full unified amateur rules debut. Slight height advantage goes to Dan Kane. Both these fighters coming from, Johnny Quinn. Both these fighters coming from incredible gyms, New Era and IFS respectively. Again, with fighters of this size, you do feel like one shot can get it done. It really comes down to who starts the quicker, who gets that first telling shot off.
Our next matchup in the light heavyweight division. Introducing first, representing New Era, here is Johnny Quinn. And his opponent representing IFS, here is Dan Kane! A new life begins! Destroy everything! Destroy everything! Destroy everything! Obliterate what makes us right! Destroy everything! Destroy everything! Destroy everything! Decimate what's right is right! Cleanse this world with flame! And this, cleanse this! Rebuild and start again! Obliterate what makes us right! And this, and embrace the destruction! And this, to embrace new life! New life! Even if nothing that deserves a response to us, don't forget, I must destroy everything that tries to invent! Even if nothing that deserves a response to us, don't forget, I must destroy everything that tries to invent! We are in a light heavyweight division for our third fight here at Crowne Wars 49. About to get us underway, Dan Kane in the blue corner representing IFS. His opponent, Johnny Quinn, representing New Era and fighting out of the red corner.
I'll tell you what, Mark, both these men have the aesthetic of a man that if they bumped in front of you in a bar, stole your space, I'd be inclined to apologise to them.
I mean, all yours, mate. I'll find somewhere else to sit, sir.
Mirror images of one another, but again with the big guys, who gets off first? Big Superman punch from Quinn.
And it almost looked like a Superman punch off an attempt to touch gloves. I'm not sure if that was what was intended. The shots are coming big back from Kane here. And
Super
to a double.
Super aggressive. Not a lot of technique, just brute force and ignorance getting the job done for Dan Kane in the early stanzas.
Dan Kane is a very aggressive fighter.
Straight through the mount.
I have to say his entrance music terrified me a little bit, and his fighting style is no different.
I believe you would call that an optimistic little ditty. Dan Kane needs to take his time in this position. Novice fight, therefore, no ground and pound to the head. Perfect opportunity now for Dan Kane to work on a little bit of his offensive grappling right now. Solidify the position, work for the likes of a head-arm triangle from the full-mounted position. I wouldn't suggest going for an armbar this early because a lot of fighters will bait the armbar to hit the reversal, the hitchhiker.
Wow. Quinn is trying to push and maneuver his hips so he can get back his own position.
Well, momentarily it looked like he's working for the half guard there. He needs to close up that guard.
He has the half guard there now.
Dan Kane looks to be isolating an arm here.
I'd like to see Quinn push him over with his elbow, then with his arm, and because this is what happens.
There's the head arm set up. He just needs to step over.
It looks like
his body shape's interesting here. He's going just for like the Brit squeeze as opposed to getting the hips low.
Yeah, now it looks like he's got it now.
These hips need to be a lot lower. Get those hips down, Dan Kane. It's a great squeeze, but he can put so much more into it if he hips down. There we go.
He just sprawls where he is now.
Unfortunately, he's impeded by the cage, so he doesn't get to walk anti-clockwise around and tighten that grip. He would almost need to shrug Quinn off the cage a little bit to create that space for himself.
We can't see from here, obviously, without access to a scanner, but I wonder how much pressure he's putting on the arms there. He's given up on the submission now.
Now, interestingly, Mark, I've been in this situation before. I held a head-on triangle in a fight for about 2 minutes, thinking I had it in the first round. You go back to your corner, all that blood and lactic acid starts to build in the arms, and they're for nothing coming out in the second round. The question has to be asked, how much did Dan Kane put into that head-arm triangle for quite a while?
Particularly when he was standing up.
Yeah.
He wasn't. He had the structure.
That's more of a pulling motion than a squeeze.
He had the structure, but he didn't have the position exactly right. It'll be interesting to see how heavy those arms are when he comes back out.
Obviously, still all to play for. I think Dan has shown his hand a little bit. He's going to try and punch his way into a clinch and secure the takedown. Quinn needs to be acutely aware of that, so movement is going to be key here for Quinn if he's to get off his offense.
From the level we saw Quinn in the first round, it did seem like he had hands too.
Yeah.
So like you say, Phil, if he can get on his bike and get his own strikes, then we could be in for quite the tussle in this second round.
Both fighters look ready to go. Gar Lyons is your man in the middle.
Both men trading strikes. Happy to stay in striking range for one, but as you predicted,
Dan Kane, punches his way into the clinch right now. Johnny Quinn, judo throw being attempted here. Good use of the whizzer. Good head positioning from Quinn right now. And again, this is smart. Again, it's engaging the arms of Dan Kane, making those arms have to pump a little bit harder with the blood. It's a very intelligent approach here from Johnny Quinn.
Solid tactics when you've got a heavier muscled man opposite you. But to be fair, Johnny Quinn is no slouch.
Needs to be aware of having his back taken here.
Yeah, if he's going to go for that throw, he needs to do it now before they lock in the position behind him.
Another big takedown, and as these are 2-minute rounds, if you score a takedown, you're essentially winning the round if you can solidify position. Back into the mount position. He's going back in that head-on triangle again when he's impeded by the cage.
It's on the wrong side as far as the cage is concerned. Yeah.
Now he may try push off the cage here to create that space for himself. He's done so. He can little pocket of space, but he needs to do it now.
Yeah, if he locks that in and cage walks himself, the likelihood is he'd be able to create some leverage and a lot of force.
And he's quite close to his corner. There it is. Just needs to skip off.
Yeah.
That guard is wide open.
There should be nothing stopping him switching to the side now.
That is wide open just for the switch off to his left-hand side. And
there's probably just a little bit of experience. He could probably finish that with a bit more patience.
And again, Mark, it's very easy for us to say sitting in our broadcast position as well.
Absolutely. It's quite a different thing when you're in there under the lights.
Dan Kane being forced to work on his grappling here.
Last few seconds now in round two.
And he's looked good when he's been in those positions. It's just, as you say, those little subtle nuances of taking that little dismount and walking your way anti-clockwise around and tightening the grip.
He's definitely winning the fight, but I wonder, will he regret not finishing the fight?
I feel that there is an extra gear there. I reckon when Dan and his coaching team watch this back, they'll say that the finish was potentially there. But this is what's great about the novice game. This is an opportunity for you to get in under the bright lights, feel what it's like without making that jump to full unified amateur rules, and work out those little kinks in your game, those little mistakes in your game.
And you have to be saying in Johnny Quinn's corner now, throw your strikes, throw your combinations, but you need to not be rushing forward. Yeah,
because what he's doing is that when he's rushing forward, he's becoming essentially a prone target. Sitting down on his shots makes him a little bit more stationary. Dan Kane just needs to scoot underneath, get the takedown. Especially in those clinch exchanges, Dan Kane's the stronger man. Therefore, Johnny should not be engaging or trying to get into that 50-50 back and forth.
100%. So far, he's won every clinch exchange.
Yeah.
So if you're Johnny Quinn, you're not going to throw good money after bad and try that again. Let's see.
So if he just goes back to fundamentals rather than trying to look for that one hit or quit or knockout shot.
He is chasing him. Chasing and
big shot over the top from Dan Kane. That wobbled Quinn. Kane smells a little bit of blood in the water.
He's doing a good job of staying out of the clinch now when he wants to.
Kane proving that he is more than able. Biblical joke.
Very good, Phil, very good.
You're welcome. Big takedown here for Dan Quinn. Could solidify the round and indeed the fight. It's incumbent upon Quinn right now to disengage. He's not, even if he wins this round, he's potentially losing the fight.
It's not going to be enough, yeah. I'm wondering though, is Kane trying to create some space? He hasn't tried to go to the ground here because he rocked him on the feet.
Big shots.
He might be looking for a finish standing up.
That's timing that's much better timing. That's not just predicated on the strength of Dan Kane. There was beautiful timing there. Duck underneath, get the takedown.
A little bit more relaxed in this third round. He read that beautifully.
Yeah, he's settled into the fight, is what we've seen.
Yeah.
Okay, he's trying to establish that mount position. There it is. Now, if you were to try and affect the head-arm triangle on the other side, look at the amount of space he has there to work it. But again, as we see so often in mixed martial arts, especially at the amateur level, fighters do have a dominant side that they prefer.
They do. Now, he's feeding him the head and arm on that side. Not anymore. But as you were speaking there, Phil, there was an opening for it.
Now he's into the open forum of the mat. 30 seconds to go. If he can cinch up the position of the head-arm triangle and skip off to the left-hand side.
Quinn pushing with his arms a little bit, has given the opening again.
There it is.
There we go.
Now he's gone palm-to-palm grip. I'd like to see him go bicep grip just to make that a little bit tighter.
Now he can cinch that if he wants.
He's happy just to land some shots to the body here on course to what I believe is a 30-27 decision.
I think you're right. I think that's the way the judges will see it too. We're going to have to wait to find out.
Yeah,
inside the cage.
Real soft. Johnny Quinn, to his credit, he did have some moments where he landed some big shots, but once again, in the scope of a novice fight where you have 2-minute rounds, you really need to get your work in quickly and effectively. We saw just how quickly a takedown can change the complexion of a novice fight.
Put your hands together for our first decision of Clan Wars 49. All three judges find for your winner by unanimous decision, Dan Kane!
Big win for Dan Kane, getting it done. Very much a measured performance from the big man. Third round is probably the best he looked through the entirety of the fight. Could he potentially got the finish with the head-arm triangle? Perhaps. But a very, very solid performance from the big man.